Ah, oh, look. Hello, hello. That was a lovely view of my backside as I close my door. Good evening to all of you. All 7 of you that are live right now. Ooh, 9 of you. Hope you all can hear me. I hope my internet is working. Internet here on the countryside can be a bit finicky and unreliable, but I'm here nonetheless. On my birthday, no less, with a glass of rosé and a cup of water, and just gonna hang out and talk about, well, whatever you guys want to talk about. We can talk about the tour cancellation. We can talk about the Lindemann tour. We can talk about the quarantine and lockdowns. Whatever you guys want. So, let's go. PPO Hungry says the show in Prague was perfect. Thank you so much. That was, I think, the first arena we ever played. It was pretty nerve-wracking, but definitely one of my favorite shows ever. Alex from Mississippi, greetings. Greetings to Sako Sophie in Germany. Hello to Kathy in Quebec. Ooh, apparently the sound and the quality are just fine, so let's hope it stays that way. Happy birthday, says Angela. Thank you. Oh, a lot of birthday greetings. So thank you to all of you for the birthday greetings. It's very kind. How rad was the Lindemann tour? The Lindemann tour was pretty fucking rad. It was, the first time that we had ever played consistently on stages of that size. I mean, we've played, big festivals where there were like 7 to 10,000 people there, but doing that every night is pretty surreal. And getting the opportunity to do that in front of people that had never heard us before is both incredibly exciting and nerve-wracking, because I haven't played to an uninitiated crowd for many years. So if you're new to this band, I've been doing this for about 20 years, and for the last 8 years, 10 years, I haven't really played to people that weren't familiar with me. So it was an honor to be invited by Till and to do that tour. Saw a whole lot of new perfectionists join the club. Pretty stoked about that. So yeah, can't complain at all. What does quarantine look like for you? Quarantine looks like me hanging out in my studio working on music. Ever since I finished the last album, I really haven't had so much time to work on music. Really just kind of, few minutes here and there to open up some software or grab my guitar and jot down some ideas. But I have not had the pleasure of being able to finish anything in about a year, which sucks. But it's because I was busy touring and promoting the album, and so it's a bit of a double-edged sword, or catch-22, or whatever you want to call it. It's because you made music, you can't continue to make music. But anyway, so I'm going to use my 8 weeks here to try and get some of these new tunes done, and I've got a whole lot of them. Which bands are confirmed for the Industrial Pop Festival in Oberhausen so far? Well, one, I can't tell you because we haven't announced them, and two, I can't tell you. Why did you lose tens of thousands of dollars? I suppose you have to pay for all those gigs and are only paid after you perform. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much correct. So it's like you get offered X amount of money and you only get paid once. You only get paid once you've played the show. And usually you don't get paid until at the end of the tour because, for example, I was a support band on this Lords of Acid run, which meant that, you know, at the very end, I would invoice the booking agency and then they would send me the money. So I paid all of the expenses out of pocket, the vehicle, the flights, and everything like that. And then I didn't get paid. Oh yeah, and the merchandise printing and all that kind of stuff. And then I didn't sell anything. Didn't sell any merchandise. Didn't play any shows. And then, you know, obviously the day after I landed, or I'm sorry, 20 minutes after I landed, President Trump announced that the travel ban would go into effect on Friday, which meant that the next day I would need to try to fly home. And of course, that caused a huge surge in airline prices. So I spent about $2,500 on one flight just to get back home. So yeah, it was a pretty big blow to my pocketbook. But, you know, obviously there are more things that are more important things in life than money, but you do need money to live. So that kind of sucked, but I'm hoping that this tour gets rebooked soon and all of this passes and I'm able to come back out and sell some merch, play some shows, and, you know, make a couple of bucks. We'll see. Ooh, Davey Puppers sent me $20. This super chat thing is very strange, but thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Did you get all the essentials you need before lockdown? Luckily, yes. At least the majority of all the things. We live in the middle of nowhere, so it's already kind of a trek to get to a proper grocery store. There's just a couple of small places nearby, but you got to drive probably like 15-20 minutes to get to a proper grocery store. So we're pretty well stocked, and I think we won't need to leave the house for a good long time. And I guess that's the way the government wants it. What genres of books do you like to read? You know, it's interesting lately. I've been reading a lot of sci-fi fantasy, which is actually pretty uncommon for me. I grew up only reading, I grew up reading stuff like Bukowski, but I don't know. Lately, I've been really, really into like The Expanse, and I've just been chewing through all of those books. Other than that, I like to read philosophy, history, those kinds of things. I'm really interested in nonfiction as well. And I've just got like stacks and stacks of books that I've not even cracked open yet. And I was kind of one of those serial Amazon buyers. I would see a book that looked really good and I go, ooh, and then I'd buy it. And then, you know, it sat on my shelf for years. So hopefully I'll get through a couple of those during this downtime. Can you put the merch up online that you had for the tour? No, unfortunately, I cannot. It is sitting in boxes in my warehouse in LA, and I'm here in Austria. And the person who runs my store is also on lockdown, so we can't even ship anything from the store or put anything up in the store until this lockdown sort of subsides. I mean, we've got some things in the store, and if you want to pick something up, obviously that would help a lot, but just keep in mind it won't be able to ship for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Also, there's my Patreon and my Bandcamp. If you want to help, if you can help, obviously I understand that these times are quite uncertain for everybody, and if it is a financial burden, I obviously don't want anybody to try to contribute. Any books you can recommend? Like I said, I've been reading all the Expanse books. I'm a huge fan of Charles Dickens. It's tough to read, but it is really, really rewarding once you get through it. I read a lot of Sam Harris. I like his books about free will, meditation. Oh yeah, the Trouble with Being Born by Ciaran. That's a good one. I also like art books. So not too long ago, I finished a biography on Francis Bacon, who's one of my favorite painters. Oh, thank you, Body Bag. I'm guessing that is going to be Anna. Thank you, Anna. Jessica Bailey, that's a good question. Will we be able to use our VIP upgrades from the US tour for a future tour date? Yes, absolutely. The tour is in the process of being rebooked right now. And all general admission tickets, which were sold through the individual promoters, will be valid on the rebook dates, as well as the VIP upgrades that are sold through us. Obviously, if you are unable to attend the rescheduled show, you will get a refund from us and probably the promoter, but I don't know for sure because it's not me, but that's what I'm told. Ugh, you and Dickens. I just finished why am I spacing on it? Great Expectations. And I gotta be honest, the ending was not as satisfying as I had hoped. But it's still a really good read. I love sort of like epic stories that kind of take place across a lifetime and include multiple, I guess, side stories that are all interwoven. I think it's just amazing, and I'm kind of in awe of how somebody could put something like that together. It's really just, I don't know. I think it's inspiring and humbling and beautiful, and I love Dickens. I'm sorry. Thank you, Tatiana. That's very, very nice. I really, really appreciate it. Kid Arctica, happy birthday. Your kitty is super cute. Any chance to see her on the stream? Unfortunately, she does not like joining these live streams. I've tried to pick her up a couple of times and she protests very much. But if she pops in, obviously, I will show her to you, but I will not drag. Much love from Nashville, Tennessee, says Carrie, we survived the tornadoes and we can survive the outbreaks. That is absolutely correct. I know that things may seem like dire right now, but, we've gotten through, as a species, we've gotten through so much more than this, and I absolutely believe that we will get through this despite how difficult it may seem right now. Uh-oh. No, I'm not sick. I just have terrible sinus problems. Don't worry. And even if I was sick, I could not infect you through here. What other industrial EBM bands are still active as much as you are? I've lost touch with a lot of the old school ones. To be honest, Alex, I don't have any idea, really. I just kind of have tunnel vision. I exist just with the singular focus to create and get my stuff done that I can't be bothered to focus too much on what other people are doing, I guess. Katie asks, do you think this mass hysteria is warranted? Yes. I think that when you compare it to the flu, you're kind of... I think the comparison to the flu is a bit disingenuous because preliminary information would seem to suggest that coronavirus has a higher mortality rate. And also, don't forget, we don't have a vaccine for it like we do the flu. So it's like many people who are at risk for dying of the flu get vaccinated every single year. And that's just not the case with this. So it's a bit worrisome to think that, even if you're going to say, I'm not personally at risk, well, you could spread it and then infect a lot of people who are at risk, and they end up in the hospital, and the hospitals are overwhelmed and can't take care of people who are in a car crash or having a heart attack or whatever. I think it's also a bit too early to pretend like we really understand what this virus is and how it's going to affect different populations. America is a very different type of population as China, and I think to err on the side of caution when you don't know how this population is going to react to this virus is the wisest way forward. Ivan says, hello everyone. Hello, Mr. Graves. I am from Russia. I was at the concert in St. Petersburg with Lindemann. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. I'm really, really humbled by the fact that so many people discovered us through this tour, through those shows, and are now listening to me because didn't really get those kinds of opportunities in the past, and I'm thankful to have had it and to welcome so many new people to the aesthetic perfection world. Sneezes aren't a symptom of coronavirus anyways. Yeah. I mean, I guess not, but people are still kind of scared anytime someone clears their throat or coughs or sneezes or anything like that, which is understandable. But I sneeze all the time because I have super fucked up sinuses. Oh, thank you very much, Depresso Espresso. I appreciate the support. Will your next songs have a slightly more aggressive style? I guess I don't know. I have so many different songs in the bank. I have a lot of rock songs, a lot of pop songs, a lot of industrial songs. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling at the moment and what allows itself to be finished. I mean, you have to remember that, like, I don't believe in free will. I don't think that I can choose what song to finish. I just kind of gravitate to whatever my subconscious brain directs me to, and that's just what gets done. I do think it's funny that a lot of people say, like, oh, do you have, or are you going to return to your more aggressive style, like where you started out with? But I actually think that there's a lot of dark and heavy stuff on the new album, on Into the Black. But, what do I know? I'm just the creator. I don't have any real perspective. Have you done anything more with that song you were making on stream? Yes, that song is almost finished. Maya sagt, kannst du bitte etwas auf Deutsch sagen? Möchte gerne hören, wie deine Stimme auf Deutsch klingt. Ja, was sollte ich sagen? Das ist immer ein bisschen Ja, man wüsste nie, was man sagen soll in solche Situationen. Ja, ich rede oft auf Deutsch, aber es ist mir lieber Englisch zu reden, weil ich finde, dass mein Deutsch scheiße ist und es ist ultra peinlich. Your concert in Kiev was amazing. I've never heard of you before, but now I'm a big fan. Thank you very much. We humans are going to make it. Thank you for the concert in Munich and hope to see you in the future at a concert in Deutschland. We have a disaster alert. Yeah, we've got that too here in Austria. It's not looking good anywhere here in Europe, but I am not deterred. I believe that we're going to make it through this, and hopefully we will all be better for it. Dude, I can't believe you're 40. You don't even look it. You're more like in the 20s. I'm actually not 40. I'm 37, but thank you. I would definitely prefer to look like I'm in my 20s than in my late 30s or 40s. As Mozart says, saw you in London with Lindemann and I couldn't have asked for a better support band. Amazing energy on stage, came home and set up the Discord and Reddit to follow you guys as I rarely use Facebook. Thank you, Oz. That's awesome. I don't actually understand Reddit or Discord because, as I've just said, I'm 37 and old as fuck, but I'm going to try. So thank you. I will be doing now that I am at home. Dein Deutsch ist weder scheiße noch peinlich. Danke, Michaela, das ist sehr nett von dir. Klingt sehr sympathisch und witzig. Ja, witzig ist es auf jeden Fall. Magst du vielleicht mal wieder so ein DJ-Set wie in Braunschweig? Ja, das haben wir geplant beim, wie heißt es, Plage Noir Festival, aber ich bin mir nicht sicher, ob das immer noch geht, weil, ja, nobody has any idea what's going on, so we shall see. Do you have a Austrian wine recommendation? Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Blauburgunder and Grüner Veltliner. Blauburgunder is basically like Pinot Noir, but grown in Austria. It's a lighter red. I really, really like it. And Grüner Veltliner is kind of like a mild but sour white. Very, very süffig. Very easy drinking. I love it. Give me your PayPal. I want to send you some birthday money. Okay, I won't say no. I will post it in the chat, but it's Daniel at aesthetic-perfection.net. And I just want to reiterate, I really appreciate all the support, everyone. But it's really important to me that if you're going to contribute, that it is not a financial burden on you, because I understand that this is not only difficult on me, that it's difficult on everybody. And, I want to make sure that you are taking care of your own priorities, your personal priorities above all else. Alkalide says, I missed your last show in San Francisco, even though I bought a ticket, didn't refund it, so you should have gotten a little bit of money from me, even though I wasn't there. That's actually true, because that show was what is known as a door deal, where the band is given a percentage of what is taken in at the door. So actually, I really did get something from that, and I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, when this tour gets rescheduled, you can come and see us for real this time, and then everybody wins. Klingt wie mein Media Studies Professor, nur im Gegensatz zu dir hat er kein Talent. Ich muss ehrlich sagen, ich glaube nicht an Talent. Ich glaube, dass das existiert eigentlich nicht. Es geht nur um Üben. Everything's about practice. You can't be good at anything unless you practice. I think talent is a myth. Sarah says, I'm home until June 16th, but I'm on maternity leave. Well, that's a pretty good reason to be staying home, so congratulations on that. Ooh, thank you, Yolkart76. A few rubles. It's very kind. I think the coolest thing about basically doing what I do and being in this position is that I get to interact with so many different people from so many different walks of life, from so many different cultures and so many different parts of the world. Just seeing all of you here speaking in your different languages and being connected through a mutual appreciation of my work is just super humbling and amazing. And I think that it's probably one of my favorite things about this job that I have. So thank you all very much. What's better for your profit if I'm listening to your music on YouTube or Spotify? Spotify I make more money from. YouTube pays you more based on how many subscribers and streams you have. It's sort of like a thing that, at least if I understand it correctly, it is exponential. So it's like the more listeners you have, the more money that they pay you. But they are not transparent about how that works. At least Spotify is pretty transparent about how much money they don't pay you. Obviously, the best way to support me is either through Patreon or Bandcamp. That's where I get like the most of the money, the largest percentage of the money. But to be honest, I understand that so many different people are in so many different financial positions that, you know, any kind of support is appreciated and welcome. So you listen however you want, and I'm going to thank you for it. Glaubst du, die aktuellen Maßnahmen hier werden länger als 7 Tage dauern? Ja, das glaube ich. Ich habe gehört, wir werden hier unter Lockdown sein für mindestens 8 Wochen. I was at your concert in Hungary in February. This was my second concert with you guys. I loved it. The coronavirus party is just starting here. I'm at home too. I hope we can get over it soon. I hope so too, Rika. I've got my own little party going on here. It's just a very... Oh, there's my mom. My mom is asking what time I'm going live, so I guess I should probably tell her, huh? How do I tell her? Here we go. Copy link. I'm live. Hi, Mom. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, I've got my own little party going on here, but the guest list is pretty small. I'm only allowing 2 other people, my wife and my cat, into the party, but at least those are the most important people. How many cats do you have? I have just 1 cat. Do you believe in aliens? Yes, I believe in aliens. No, I do not believe we have been visited. How do you deal with it when people say that you're talented and you don't have the time to tell them your viewpoint? I try to direct them to my video here on my YouTube where I explain why I think talent is a myth. And I try to take every opportunity I can when somebody tells me that I'm talented to explain to them that I am not talented. I am just a regular person who is practicing relentlessly, always trying to get better. I mean, I spend almost every waking moment of my life trying to think about how to be a better artist, a better singer, a better producer, all these kinds of things. That's not really the stuff that you get to see, from your perspective. But I think that it's really important that people like myself talk about that, because I think that the idea of talent is really, I think it's damaging to people that have a desire to pursue some sort of endeavor. It doesn't matter if it's creative or if it's scholastic or anything like that. I think talent is a very pernicious myth that makes people not want to go after the things that they dream of because they believe that they're just simply not good enough to do it. And the fact is that you are, because anybody can do anything if they put their mind to it. I mean, it takes years and years and years of trial and error and failure and embarrassment and all of that kind of stuff. But that is, that's how this works. What do the Germans say? Macht den Meister? You always look as if what you're reading is highly suspicious looking at the comments. Unfortunately, I'm a bit blind. I guess it's a part of my age. So I have to squint a little bit to read the type. Thank you for the donation, Laura. I hope to see you one day. Maybe a meet and greet in Germany. I think we can make that happen. Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Please raise your eyebrow. I can only raise my left eyebrow. I can kind of raise my right one, but it's easier on the left. Would you do like some really long work music, like 1 hour of music? I mean, if you're talking about one continuous piece of music, I probably wouldn't do that. I prefer much more structured things, but I would one day love to make a rock opera. You can be a hard worker, but you don't create more than one great song if you're not a genius. I disagree with that. I actually think that most one-hit wonders, they just got lucky. I mean, if you're lucky, you write one great song. If you work really hard, you can write many great songs. And that takes a lot of sort of self-awareness and being able to say, hey, why did these songs work? How do they fit into the current cultural zeitgeist? You have to be willing to really dig down and deconstruct who you are and why what you do is either good or bad in order to kind of have certain breakthroughs. And I try to do this as often as I can, but I often fall into my own traps and get sucked into my own bullshit. But that's just part of being human, I guess. Were you ever worried about being in Europe with all of this going on? Of course I'm worried, but it's also scary in America. I mean, we are a global society. This is not something that was ever going to be contained to one continent, one country, one culture. This is something that we've all got to solve together, right? There's no other way through this but by counting on one another. Being good at practicing is also a talent. I disagree. Again, I had to learn how to practice, and most people are taught how to practice. I think for the first half of my life, I really had no... But now that I've understood that, I've gotten a lot better at being a producer, being a singer, speaking German, all these kinds of things, like learning how to focus is a skill that I don't think is necessarily inherent. Hey Eugene, thank you for the support. I hope you're doing well down in Italy. Yeah, we're in your place. We're in your position right now in Austria. You should check out Repo the Genetic Opera. Ogre is in it. I have absolutely seen that. Giela Sanchez asks, what's the reason that you decided to make an LP again instead of an EP? Because my supporters asked for it. I think it's important to listen to your fans, and it's not like give them what they want in this sense of trying to bow to their wishes, but I think that I looked at it as being commissioned for a piece of art. Like, you know, if someone goes to a sculptor and says, please sculpt my wife or whatever, that sculptor would not have sculpted this person's wife without being asked to do it, but maybe being requested to do that helped the artist create something amazing that they might never have under any other circumstances. So this is kind of how I viewed creating Into the Black. Was I was being commissioned to create a full album, and I had to do that to the best of my ability, and I was pleasantly surprised not only with the results, but with how gratifying the process was. So I'm really thankful to be in this place where I have a very symbiotic relationship with my fans, where when they talk, when you guys talk, I listen, and I think it helps me be a better artist. Mega Xenu, are you scared of dying? I guess yes. Guess it changes from day to day. There's certain ways of dying that I'm more scared of than others. I mean, I guess when I think about, like, if I were to just die in my sleep, I'm not that scared of that. I am pretty scared of crashing in a plane or, you know, having a severe asthma attack. I have asthma, so I know what it's like to feel like you're suffocating in air. I'm scared of those things. Maybe it's not the death. Maybe it's the way, the process of dying or the way of dying that scare me. How much input do Joe and Elliot have in your music, and what brings the most fun when you're not recording? I bounce a lot of ideas off of Joe and Elliot, and I listen to their feedback. They're not usually directly involved with the writing process, though we're talking more and more about getting them involved in that way. I mean, this is quote unquote my band, but my band wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for all of the talented people that I've had the honor and pleasure of working with. And so, you know, with Into the Black, I was trying to be a lot more collaborative and to work with people that not only shared my vision, but people who didn't share my vision at all, but could help take me out of my comfort zone and out of my box and help me create something that I never would have done on my own. So I think that both Joey and Elliot are tremendously talented musicians, and I hope that they can be much more involved musical collaborators in the future. Who created your outfit design on your latest shows? I did, actually, but it's mostly just pieced together from pictures of Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson. Your internet works much better today than before. That's surprising, actually, because you would think that everybody being on lockdown, they're all streaming and on the internet, but hey, I won't complain. Morla, Daniel, you said talented people. Okay, you caught me. I certainly have no problem using the word talent in this sort of colloquial way. Um, and certainly being a product of Western society, I'm sort of programmed to use that language. I'm trying not to, but it's the same way I would say, oh, I have faith in whatever. I have faith in people, or I have faith in my family, or anything like that. Even though I don't have faith in anything, I think faith is also bad. So, good point. I will try not to use it more. But that was certainly a colloquialism and not an endorsement of the idea of talent. Bring the burger hat. I wish I had the burger hat. Yes, I am all out of wine. Jesse Harlan, Lockdown Livestream sounds like an opportunity for more new music. Absolutely. I have been working on so much music just the last couple of days, and I have no doubt I will have a lot of new stuff coming in the next weeks. Yes, I already read about the burger hat. Given that you pay attention to a lot of mainstream music, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on Billie Eilish? Do you like her music? I certainly like Billie Eilish's persona more than I like the music. I feel like she's a much better singer than she lets on to be, I should say. I think that she speaks to a certain kind of audience that is not necessarily a 37-year-old man, and that's a good thing. I've certainly no problem with her, but I'm much more of a fan of, like, Lorde. Daniel, do you paint? No, I have no other hobbies. I really, part of my artistic philosophy is that you can't dilute yourself with too many endeavors. I think that we all have to make sacrifices, and as much as I would love to draw or write, actually writing would be my next choice for an artistic outlet. So if I was unable to make music, I would certainly try to become a writer. But I think that people who try to do too many things often dilute themselves, and their work suffers for it. So I've made a conscious decision not to pursue any other artistic endeavors, at least for the time being, because music is really what I've dedicated my life to, and come hell or high water, I'm just going to keep doing that. Is there the possibility to hear Joey and Elliot on a new album or single, or will you continue to write everything by yourself? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm really hoping to get them more involved in the creative process. I think what I'm going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks won't feature them really because of the lockdown and our inability to work together, but I will certainly be consulting them and sending them demos and all that kind of stuff. Will you ever release a live album? We've thought about it, but we wouldn't want to do it unless it was done right, or what I mean by that is that, like, live albums are actually the worst selling type of album, followed by, like, greatest hits. So I don't know if I would release it in that sense, but I would certainly like to release more live material in the vein of like what 9 Inch Nails does, where they just, will release multicams of their shows for free. Do you like Russian vodka? Of course I do. Can you announce something about your art for 2020, 2021? I think everything, given the state of the world, is pretty up in the air right now. I can't say anything concrete. I don't even know if any of the shows, because I'm usually planning like a year in advance. But like I said, I'm just going to write new music for the next 8 weeks during this lockdown and see what happens. I noticed a cameraman on stage in London. Is there a future live video soon? That was Max. He's awesome, and you will definitely see stuff from him soon. What kind of book would you write? Detective, philosophy, about empathy? I would actually, I'd probably write a romance novel. If you suddenly turn into a mainstream musician, do you think that any of your musical philosophies would change? I mean, it's certainly possible. However, it's certainly possible because I'm just a man, right? I'm just a human being, and we're all sort of pre-programmed for the same kind of bullshit. And it's easy to say, oh, you know, if I was rich and famous, I wouldn't do that. But, you know, history has given us a pretty good understanding of how people behave under those situations. So we don't know. What I can say, though, is that I've been doing this for long enough to where I feel a little bit more immune to the industry bullshit than I would have been when I was in my 20s. I mean, if I became a rock star at 20, I most certainly would have followed down the same path as most people. But now that I'm almost 40 and, you know, it's only now that I'm really getting some sort of momentum behind my work, I feel kind of more, let's say, guarded to the egotistical landslide that can come from that. More than anything, I just feel grateful to be in this position where new people are discovering my work and that, you know, more people are listening to it and supporting me. It's more, let's say, humbling than building up my ego. But we'll see. What is your favorite food, desserts or savory stuff? I like savory stuff. I'm not really too keen on sugar unless it's just a simple baked good. I would totally read a romance novel from you. I think my brain is pretty much only geared to sort of like romance and psychological horror. I think that's kind of a good way of imagining my musical work. I think a lot about romance and just kind of mental, psychological issues and self-sabotage, all that kind of shit. So, yeah, that's probably what I would write if I was a novelist. Is it your vision or a director's vision for your music videos? They're all phenomenal, even the more simplistic ones like Never Enough. At the beginning, I was very, very involved. And then I was told by my former label that I should give up control and allow other people to totally come up with my music videos. And so that's when we had clusterfucks like Inhuman, which is just a goddamn embarrassment. And then I started saying, okay, I have to do it all myself. And then, you know, it was stuff like LAX and Never Enough, which I think are also pretty flawed. But I think that they're more close conceptually to what I'm hoping to achieve than a lot of other things. But I just didn't really have the skill set to make it a reality. So that's why I started working with Clint and doing like Love Like Lies and Gods and Gold. So it's basically, you know, I come up with the vision and then I let somebody with more talent help me bring it to life. So it's a much more collaborative effort than it ever was. Would you like to work with Lindemann? Sure, I'm down for pretty much any collaboration with an artist I respect. How does it make you feel if you don't feel feedback from the crowd at your shows? Obviously, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but I consider myself much less a performer than a creator. My real joy comes from, and I really do enjoy playing for large crowds and feeling that feedback. But for me, it's not the same as when I write something that I feel truly resonates, either with me or what I think might resonate with people. That's when I get that sort of euphoria, the high. I get the high from creating. I don't get the high from performing. You should check out Wattpad. So many psychological dark romance books. I will have a look. What are we talking about here, says Mitchell. Just came in. We're talking about all sorts of things. I've already forgotten. All right. I think we're almost out of time. But if I grab a beer, I can justify staying for 15 more minutes. So I will grab a beer and be right back. Okay, let's see here. Got to go practice my guitar. Yeah, good. I like that, Angela. Keep practicing. Ooh, okay. Do you think morality is relative or absolute? I think that morality is subjective. However, that doesn't mean that it is subjective for us. I think that given the types of animals we are and the societies that we create, it's pretty easy to figure out what is and is not moral. Obviously, if we came across a race of aliens that didn't understand the concept of property, a thing like theft would not be impermissible. So So it sort of depends on that. Did you ever manage to get your headphones back that you forgot on the plane? No, unfortunately. I did not. Okay. How are you spending the lockdown days? Making music? Walking or something else? I'm just trying to be creative and read. When on stage, how much do you actually see of the audience due to the lighting? Can you see people singing and so on? You can mostly hear them, but in a big arena, it's just kind of like sort of like looking at cars driving from the top of a skyscraper, right? You don't see all the details, you just see a little bit of movement, but you can tell. Zidar Grimm says, any monumental tips for an artist for sudden realizations or breakthroughs? It's really all about being self-aware. Um, it's very, very hard to look honestly at your work and ask yourself why it does or doesn't work, and how you can be better at it. I think a lot of people just sort of assume that their vision is enough and that that's the most important thing, when really um, it's about understanding as much about your craft as humanly possible and being really honest about yourself and whether or not it lives up to those expectations, and figuring out then how to make what you envision turn into reality. Who was the designer of the concept of the Gods and Gold video? That was myself and the director Clint Carney, and the incredible camera work of Michael. His last name is spacing on me, and the makeup genius of Pompberry. That was a really collaborative effort. I don't think it would have been nearly as amazing as it was without all those talented people involved. Have you been recognized in a really random location? It happens sometimes. Every now and then I'll get noticed on the street. It's pretty rare though. I want to say it's happened like 3 times, and I've been doing this 20 years. Sith Lord or Jedi Master, I'm certainly much more I connect more with the whole Jedi philosophy, but I think I identify with Kylo Ren for the reason that most people do, is that, you know, he's a complex character that doesn't fit into any box perfectly. He's neither a Jedi nor a Sith. He's just this person struggling to find out who he is, and I think that that is a really good representation of the struggle that we all face in everyday life. What is a movie that you have seen a bunch of times and just know by heart? For Star Wars trilogy, Event Horizon, Pulp Fiction. I think those are those ones. America or Austria. I think I like both for different reasons. When you live in different countries and get sort of immersed in different cultures, you find that when you return back to your own, something's sort of missing. Thank you, Yolkart. Thank you, Kid Arctica. I appreciate it. I think when you why did I lose my train of thought? I literally just lost my train of thought and I had no idea what I was talking about. Oh yeah, America or Austria, right. So when you go back home, you find that something's missing. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, my heart is split across these 2 different countries and continents because I love each one for different reasons, and I feel frustrated by each one for different reasons. And I think that that's only natural. I think most people who are expats have a similar experience. Star Trek or Star Wars? I mean, it's clearly Star Wars, although new Star Wars is terrible. Would you like to participate in a soundtrack? I've done something like that. I've helped some people in that capacity, but it's not really anything that I find exciting. Do you believe in fate? I absolutely do not. I think that existence is chaos, and that there is absolutely nobody pulling the strings, and there's no reason to think that there is. Opinion on Kinder Schokolade. I'm not a fan of chocolate, really. I mean, I eat it when it's around sometimes, but I would never buy it. Your music inspired me to embrace what I hate in myself and accept it. I think that's one of the best compliments I've ever received. I think that's what makes art so spectacular, because it can help us understand things about ourselves that we were never able to understand before or articulate. And I just remember growing up and seeing myself reflected in my favorite music, and recognizing what a powerful feeling and experience that was, and how if I could ever achieve anything even close to like that myself with my own creations, that I would really couldn't ask for more out of life. All right, let's see here. A couple more questions. What kind of beer is that? It's called Zipfermärzen. There are not a lot of beer options here. Like, craft brewing is not nearly as popular or expansive in Europe. Mostly you just have to drink beers that are, local to your region. And yeah. It all tastes like pennies, though. Let's be honest. Do you enjoy American fast food? If so, what is your favorite fast food place? Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell so much. Spicy potato tacos are my fucking jam. Would you consider speaking more about focus and practice at some point? I've absolutely tried to make as many videos as I can on the subject. I certainly would like to make more. It's really just sort of a matter of time. I just have a very limited amount of it, and yeah, it takes a lot of focus and effort and time to create those videos. But I certainly would like to do more, and hopefully if I have more downtime, I will be able to do it. I've got a lot of scripts written. Do you plan to do more live streams during the lockdown? Yes, absolutely. If gigs are called off, could you do a gig on YouTube? I mean, I wouldn't be able to do anything other than a solo gig, obviously, because Elliot lives in Poland, but he is now stranded in Hamburg, and Joe lives in New York. I tried to buy the Aesthetic Perfection badge on the official site, but the site did not accept my date of birth. What is the problem? Did you use the European format or the American format? Because it's got to be, it goes month, date, year, not date, month, year. Try that. Will you be going back to Complete Vocal Institute anytime? I don't have any current plans, but I still read the book a whole lot. I saw you at the Lindemann show, and what a surprise. I was too shy to say thanks when you were outside. You were awesome. Thank you so much, and never feel too shy to come say hello. I love saying hello to people. All right, rapid fire. Hit me with questions. I'm leaving in 4 minutes. How do you find ideas for videos? What is your main source of inspiration? I actually, as I write songs, I get visual impressions, and then I write them down, and then I sort of connect them into some sort of vague narrative, because I don't want a music video to tell a specific story. I want it to be more like a dream, where it follows dream logic and not real logic, and just sort of becomes much more symbolic and, let's say, subjective than taking the viewer from like A to Z. I want it to take you from A to W, then back to D, and then maybe Z, and then if we have time, we'll get to N. You could always do an acoustic show on YouTube, except I cannot play guitar and sing at the same time. Is everything infinite, or will it all end? I mean, I certainly think that there is good evidence that the Earth will end. I don't know if the whole universe will end, or at least in the way that we conceptualize time and space, but I think this sort of universe will absolutely end. Favorite painting artist, Goya. Favorite snack, peanuts. Has a dream ever inspired a video of yours? I'm often inspired by dreams. Favorite tattoo artist, mine. Zoltan Pop. Where's the Corona beer? I'm on lockdown. I can't go to the store. I can only drink my local shit. You have mentioned The Shining as one of your favorite horror movies. Have you seen Dr. Sleep? No, and I don't think I want to see it because the only reason that I think I like The Shining is because it's Kubrick. I think Stephen King is a bit overrated, and his every other movie that he makes, or every other movie that his books have inspired, are usually terrible. Please do more live streams whenever you get a chance. That's the plan. Do you create lyrics the same way you create music? Yes and no. I try to do it with some thought, but I also try to maintain the sort of dreamlike narrative. I don't necessarily want a song to mean just one thing. I want the work to be subjective so that the person listening to it can find their own meaning. Plans for kids someday? Nope, I've got a cat. Forgot to thank you for the ring. My pleasure. Favorite show you've ever performed? I would say St. Petersburg was pretty amazing. Leipzig was pretty amazing. What is your favorite song of yourself? They're like my kids. I love them equally, even if some of them suck. Motorcycle or car? I'm not a daredevil. I only like safe and reliable cars. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. As I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. And you can expect some new music pretty soon. And I appreciate everybody kicking down a few bucks and hanging out with me. It's means a lot, and I'm just grateful to have so many people who support my work and want to hear more from me. So you all have a wonderful Monday, have a wonderful week, and we'll do this soon.